How many dreams have you buried because you thought too much and moved too little? How many times did you talk yourself out of the very thing that could have changed your life? You're not tired because you're working hard. You're tired because your mind has been running in circles while your feet haven't taken a single step. Let me tell you something. The cure isn't thinking. The cure is action. And until you move, your life will stay stuck exactly where it is. Overthinking is like quicksand. It keeps pulling you deeper and deeper until you can't move. You sit there replaying every possible outcome, every possible mistake, every possible reason why it won't work. And in that cycle of thought, you lose your energy, your courage, and your time. Fear grows inside of you when you give it attention. And that's what overthinking does. It feeds your fear. It makes the problem look bigger than it is. And it makes you feel smaller than you are. That's why so many people never even take the first step. They've convinced themselves that the step is impossible before they even tried. But the truth is, the very thing you're afraid of will shrink the moment you face it. Action is the key that unlocks the prison you've built in your mind. The second you move, you begin to break the chains of hesitation. Fear cannot survive in the presence of movement. It might whisper, it might try to distract you. But it loses power when you put your body into motion. Every time you take action, even if it's small, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your doubts. You prove that the story in your head is just a story, not your reality. The longer you stay stuck in your mind, the heavier the weight becomes. But once you move, you release that weight. The anxiety begins to fade and your confidence begins to rise. Action replaces uncertainty with clarity. It replaces fear with progress, and it replaces paralysis with power. When you stop letting your thoughts control you and start letting your actions lead you, you discover that the life you want has always been waiting on the other side of movement. Worry is a silent thief that robs you of your strength before you even take a single step. You can spend hours sitting in one place doing nothing physically, yet feel completely exhausted because your mind has been running a marathon of doubts, fears, and worst case scenarios. That's the power of worry. It drains you from the inside out. Hard work doesn't make you this tired. Hard work gives back. It builds endurance. It builds character. It gives you results. But worry leaves you empty. It's like pouring water into a bucket with holes. No matter how much energy you pour in, it leaks out. That's why some people wake up in the morning already tired, not because they've worked too much, but because they've been carrying the weight of fear all night long. The truth is, the brain can't tell the difference between imagined stress and real stress. When you overthink, your body reacts as if you're already failing, already losing, already facing the disaster you created in your head. No wonder you feel drained. But the moment you trade worry for work, the cycle breaks. The same energy you use to worry is the energy you can use to create, to build, to fight for your future. Work energizes because it produces progress, and progress fuels hope. The more you act, the less room anxiety has to grow. Worry is powerless when your hands are moving, when your feet are moving, when your heart is chasing something real. You don't defeat fear by sitting and thinking. You defeat it by showing up and doing the work, even when you're afraid. Hard work builds you, but worry breaks you. That's why the cure for exhaustion isn't always rest. It's often action. Dreams will never turn into reality as long as they stay trapped inside your head. You can imagine the life you want. You can write it down. You can daydream about it every single day. But unless you grind for it, it will always remain an idea. Too many people confuse vision with victory. Having the dream is only the first step. The real difference is made in the daily work, the sacrifices, the sweat, and the consistency that comes with chasing it. Your grind is where dreams breathe. Your actions are the proof that your vision matters. Talking about it doesn't change anything. Planning without action doesn't change anything. Waiting for the right time doesn't change anything. Execution is the only bridge between your dream and your reality. Every rep in the gym, every late night study session, every hour spent working on your craft is proof that you believe in your dream enough to fight for it. Dreams demand evidence, and the evidence is your grind. You can't expect life to hand you what you want just because you think about it or wish for it. Life responds to work. It responds to hustle. It responds to sacrifice. The people you admire didn't just dream big. They worked big. They woke up earlier. They stayed up later. They pushed through the pain when everyone else quit. That's how they made their vision tangible. The grind is not always glamorous. It's not always fun, but it's always necessary. When you grind, you plant seeds. When you grind, you build muscle. When you grind, you shape a new reality. Your dream is waiting, but it's not waiting in your imagination. It's waiting in the hours of focused work that you're willing to put in every single day. So many people waste their lives waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect timing, the perfect conditions to finally start. They convince themselves that once everything lines up, once they have enough money, once they have the right connections, once they feel ready, then they'll take action. But that day never comes because perfection is an illusion. Life doesn't give you a perfect setup. It gives you opportunities disguised as challenges, disguised as risk, disguised as uncertainty. The truth is, waiting for perfect timing is just another form of fear. It's a comfortable excuse to stay still, to avoid failure, to avoid discomfort. But nothing great has ever been built in comfort. Every breakthrough, every achievement, every dream that came alive happened because someone was willing to start before they felt ready. The only time you truly have is now. Tomorrow is not promised, and yesterday is already gone. The longer you wait, the more momentum you lose, and the more doubt creeps in. Action taken today, even if it's small, is more powerful than a flawless plan you never execute. Progress doesn't require perfection, it requires persistence. When you act now, you create movement, and movement creates opportunities you would have never seen while sitting still. Starting today gives you a head start on growth, a head start on learning, a head start on building the life you want. The present moment is the only currency you can spend, and if you keep saving it for later, you'll go broke with nothing but unfulfilled dreams. You don't need perfect conditions. You need courage. You don't need the right time. You need the right mindset. And the right mindset says, I start now because now is all I've got. Failure is not the enemy people think it is. Failure stings. It bruises your ego. It challenges your confidence, but it also teaches lessons that success could never teach. When you fail, you learn what doesn't work. You learn what needs to change. You learn how strong you really are. Every setback has the power to sharpen you, to prepare you for the next step, to build a toughness in you that smooth sailing never will. The pain of failure is temporary, but the growth it produces is permanent. On the other hand, regret is a wound that never closes. Regret is the thought that haunts you at night, the whisper that says, what if I had tried? What if I had given my all? What if I had been brave enough to take that risk? Regret eats away at you because you will never know what could have been. You can recover from failure. You can bounce back. You can rebuild, but you can't rewind time to chase the opportunities you ignore. That is why regret is so much more dangerous than failure. Failure moves you forward because it gives you clarity, but regret keeps you frozen in the past. When you choose action, you give yourself the possibility of success and the guarantee of growth. When you choose inaction, you guarantee nothing but the heavy weight of wondering. The truth is, failure is not final unless you quit. It is simply a step, a tool, a part of the process. Regret, however, is final because once time passes, you cannot go back. That's why it's better to try and stumble than to never try at all. Better to carry scars of effort than to live with the emptiness of never knowing what you could have achieved. Action is the spark that ignites everything. The moment you move, something shifts inside you. Anxiety begins to loosen its grip because now you're not just thinking, you're doing. Confidence doesn't come from sitting still or imagining success. It comes from proving to yourself step by step that you're capable. Every action you take builds momentum, and momentum is powerful. It turns a small push into unstoppable force. When you act, you create progress, and progress is addictive. Even the smallest win can fuel your belief that bigger wins are possible. That belief grows stronger with every step forward. Action also creates clarity. While overthinking keeps you stuck in questions, action gives you answers. You don't learn by waiting. You learn by trying. You don't discover your strength by sitting in fear. You discover it by walking through it. Movement reveals doors you didn't even know existed. When you stay still, those doors remain hidden. But once you take a step, opportunities start to show up. That's how life works. Motion attracts motion. The more you move, the more the world moves with you. And the more you do, the more confident you become. Because confidence isn't built in your head. It's built through repetition, through resilience, through results. It's built when you fall but get back up, when you doubt yourself but still press forward. Action is what transforms fear into courage, confusion into clarity, and hesitation into strength. Action doesn't guarantee perfection, but it always guarantees growth. And growth is what builds the life you're chasing. When you act, you shift from being controlled by fear to being led by purpose. Momentum becomes your ally, confidence becomes your fuel, and life begins to open up in ways you never thought were possible. You've spent enough time trapped in your head, waiting, doubting, worrying. That season is over. It's time to stop thinking about the life you want and start living it. Fear will always whisper. Doubt will always try to distract you, but action silences them both. Every step you take is a vote for the future you deserve. Stop overthinking, start moving, and watch how fast your life begins to change. Action beats anxiety every single time. So move now, because your destiny is waiting on the other side of your first step.